From time to time mentioning, and if you're going further and further, it becomes even more involved, that the minute we feel that we are not in our in our turf, so to speak, and we are learning things which do not find a place in our mind, we have to. There are plenty to learn. This is very, very an extreme level of Chassidus, of our scholar Chassidus, and it's not necessary that we learn it unless we are into it. But we on some light here. Oh. So now we're into, let me just establish a place where we're going to start. We will start from the line, this is on page Tzadik, and Ois Mem. The line begins with the word the Memela, approximately 8 lines from the beginning.
Page Tzadik?
Yeah.
Eight lines now.
Oh, the Mamela, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, who or
What?
the Mamela, something.
Reihu bein aroich.
What's that? Hooray?
Reihu bein aroich.
Oh, okay.
So we're principally discussing the Inyan from Ila ve'ol. The variations in Ila ve'ol. And the Rebbe is pointing out that Ila ve'ol takes place in ha'ora, we talked about, let's say, Mechin, it takes place in the ha'ora of Mechin, not in the etzem of Mechin. Because in Ila ve'ol, in contrast to Oyer Moyer or Yesh Miyayim, Ila ve'ol, there is a close proximity between the Olul and the Ila. And the process of Ila ve'ol is where the Olul recognizes the Ila. And the Ila dedicates itself to provide the Olul with its oil, with its provision. There's a direct relationship and there's a proximity. They understand one another. Different Ila ve'ol, cause and effect. Although this is a further developmental state, yet it is a state where the higher level and the lower level are interrelated, have proximity, not be'in arich. So this is, we're going into this quite deeply, and we're going further into this. Again, as I'm thinking, what does this mean? How do you translate this in terms of Avodas Hashem? What does this mean? What's the significance of this in our thinking process? So the point that I felt would be meaningful to bring out here, as we spent so much time already on this, and we're going further and further and deeper into it. The point which I felt would be meaningful is to understand. We say that there is the Etzem O'er, and then there is the Ha'ara of the O'er. And within the Ha'ara there is a whole process, what's called Ilu V'Ol. Well, the Ha'ara further emanates and brings out another level of Ha'ara. And this can go, so to speak, continue from one level of Seichel to another level of Seichel. Seichel HaRav and Seichel HaMashpia and Seichel HaMakabel. At least as a starting point, to understand the significance of this. Although it is necessary to understand it in order to contrast this with Oyer Moyer and so forth, but within that itself, what is the message in this? We're learning now, we just finished Pasha Breshis, and we learn Pasha Breshis quite quickly, and most of the time, like this year, we hardly had any time to learn Pasha Breshis. We have to learn it all within a 24-hour period, Breshis and Rocha and so forth. I remember the Rebbe talking about this. Although Bereshis is an extremely engaging posture. And every posuk in Pasha Bereshis, there is Tile Tile.
Mm-hmm.
There is mountains and mountains. If you open the Chumash, you'll see Chaim on Bereshis and Even Ezer on Bereshis and so forth. And you never have any time to really get into it. Here's the point which I want to point out. When the Rebbe created the vegetation, all creatures, by the vegetation it says clearly, Eitz Pri, Eisa Pri, a tree of fruit, that Eisa Pri, that then further replicates itself. And the zera is within the fruit. The seed is within the fruit. And you take that seed, and that seed doesn't create a fruit. It creates a tree of fruit. This is the secret in the
To remain on this call, press 1.
There's a secret in creation. Now this is not clearly a natural process. This fact that the fruit can create another fruit is not part and parcel of the makeup of the fruit. It's not a statement.
We hit another tree.
Okay.
That creates
What?
that creates a new fruit.
Okay, but that you're missing the point. This is not part of the makeup of fruit. When you eat the fruit, you eat a fruit. This union that it creates, that it can replicate itself. And with the seed, it creates a tree, it creates a fruit. This is a secret hidden in the fruit. What secret is that? What is the secret? What does it contain? It creates the koyach of the Creator. Yes, indeed, the Creator created a fruit, or its fruit, or a fruit, a fruit. He created a fruit, but His koyach continues to be influential within that creation. And you can tell that this is a creation that came from a source that's infinitely greater than the creation. You look at the fruit, you say this has an infinite capacity for creation itself. It's ridiculous. It's a joke. And yet, yes, indeed, it has an infinite capacity for recreating itself. From one apple, you can make an orchard of apples. So that it gives us two perspectives, two principles to delve into. One is it reveals to us the greatness of the Creator. Anything that the Creator does has an element of infinity.
I'm trying to think what our main point is here, namely that something that seems to be cause and effect, such as nature.
I'm coming back to cause and effect. I know where you're coming from. You know that especially in the Chassidus, when you go into a moshel, you go into a different world, and then you come back to where you are. And again, the similar thing, to keep a narrow string of a step-by-step connection to where you start from is going to limit to what you're able to understand. Because in fact, like I said, the fact that the fruit can create another fruit is not part of the fruit. It's a hidden secret in it. So that if you really want to understand what's going on, you have to be able to open up and start talking about something completely different. This is where you begin to recognize what you're really dealing with. So that to fully understand the creation is impossible. It's iluviola. There's no limit. There's no end to its variations. What then are we focusing on? Saying we learn right now. We learn right now iluviola. And the Rebbe is pointing out iluviola. Iluviola is cause and effect in one generation to another generation, one stage to another stage. The secret that this reveals is that the initial Elo which is only a ha'ara of the real thing. Because only a ha'ara can participate in Ila V'yola process. Etzem does not participate in Ila V'yola process, as we discussed many times. Even the ha'ara has no end as to how many generations it can go.
Even the what was that? Even the ha'ara?
Ha'ara, right.
Not just the etzem.
Because the koyach of the Creator reflects itself in every generation, everything that is a derivative from it. I was thinking to give us a bit of a handle and approximation within our own experience, within our own thinking process. I mentioned many times. You lie in bed, and it's morning. It's time to get up, and you reflect. Hey, it's time to get up, and you tell yourself it's time to get up. It's time to get up. Time to get up. You can tell yourself 100 times it's time to get up. It's not going to get you out of bed. In order to get you out of bed, you have to go deeper than the realization, than the seichel. It's time to get up. You have to go to the source of the seichel, to the rotz. The seichel is a means by which the rotzen expresses it. But what will get you up is the source of the seichel. So this little seichel that says it's time to get up continues to have the influence and the power behind it of the rotzen. The rotzen means, yeah, I really want to know the truth. I really want to relate to the truth. Not just to know how it affects this level or that level. And this want, this rotzen, this is a divine gift. This is a koyach eliki in the person. And this koyach eliki is infinite. It goes to the smallest and the lowest and the simplest aspect of a person's experience. So this is the point which follows us throughout this learning. Ilu ve'olu seems to be a very simple process. Yet, this Ilu ve'olu, just as yesh AYIN is a koyach eliki, that we cannot even begin to fathom and to understand, Ilu ve'olu similarly contains a koyach eliki, but in more camouflaged manner, that is also beyond our understanding.
I lost the connection of something.
Okay, so Shmuel, you'll get that again. I said, you don't understand. You come in the middle here.
Yeah. No, but you made two statements that I couldn't.
All right, leave it alone. You understand? You want something
later?
I give. That's right.
Okay,
I give you the option to come to me.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt your flow.
Okay. No, it's not my thought. Okay. Okay. I said be starting on the line that begins the Mamela. The first words on that line are still speaking about Oyer Moyer. But further down, Bekuli, Aval Ha'ora, Shabbat B'chinas Ilu V'Yal, but the Ha'ora that it develops in a Ilu V'Olul manner, the Hainu B'chinas Erech, Oyer Moyer are not the Erech to each other. Oyer and Moyer are two different realities. But Ilu V'Olul are B'Erech, the Olul and the Ilu truly relate to one another and understand each other. They're not at the distance of Shoed B'Erech, in other words, in a different world. And it occurs with Alidei, his slapshus or Yilul Hamshus or Olul. And how does the Olul come about? It is by the process of his slapshus or Yilul, where the Yilul puts itself into the function and the aim of the Hamshus or Olul, to bring forth the Olul. Like the moshel over here we're talking about is Mashpia Makabel. The Mashpia gives a seichel to the Makabel. The Ilu V'Olul between seichel itself. There's no way that the Mashpia can give seichel to the Makabel without intending to give it to him. The REBBE says in Tanya that if someone is learning to himself, and as he's learning, he speaks out all the explanations, all the thoughts that transpired in his mind as he's learning. All the thoughts, he's expressing it. Many people learn, so to speak, out loud. And somebody is sitting next to him and listening to the entire internal conversation. He will not get to know and understand what's going on as well as if he was intending to teach it to him. Intending to teaching him, there's a deeper relationship, and this is how the teaching takes place. But this is what he says. Ilu V'Olul is not an automatic aspect, that one transfers automatically to the other. The Ilu is the Islapsha, the Ilu intentionally brings forth the Olul. This intent is a very deep source. This intent is a very deep source. The depth of it expresses that the Olul, that the Ilu recognizes that there is such thing as an Olul. Even though he understands it to himself. And yet, in himself he recognizes that there's a further development. This union that he recognizes that there is a further development attests to the fact that he himself is not a standalone entity. He's only a ha'ora. What does it mean in simple terms? Ha'ora, as we give the mashal there, ha'ora is something that carries within itself, within its own presence, a functional element. It is not something that you could say it's there for its own sake. If the ha'ora would not emanate what it is, l'chutz, then it loses completely its presence. Our mashal to this was, you have a candle. You have a candle on one end of the room, and then at the other end of the room you recognize that there is light someplace. Even though the light that reaches the end of the room is not sufficient to read by it, but nonetheless it eliminates the total darkness. The candle, the light of the candle, the fire of the candle, this is an entity unto itself. Whether you use it functionally or not, it is an entity in itself. Whereas this extended ha'ora, the extended light, which is only attesting to the fact that someplace there is a light, not it itself is a light. If it would fail to tell you that someplace there is a light, or this function, then it doesn't exist. It exists only by virtue of its functional accomplishment. This is why I said the Elo itself is focused on bringing out the Olo. Because the Elo is also a half-masked entity. It also is identified and defined by its functional accomplishment, even though it's an Elo. Okay. Okay, so we start after the parentheses. The line begins with his slapshus at the end of that line. V'zehu, thus this points out clearly what we said originally. The havus ha'olul hu, that his havus, the coming forth of the olul. What brings the olul into existence? Hu alidei, it is as a result, sheyesh k'tzaz hasoga mehoyilo beholul, that there is some comprehension of the yilo in the olul. They are not out of proximity to one another. A little bit of the yilo is in the olul, of comprehension, of actual recognition. And this is how the development continues. Okmei b'midas or moichin, as we already discussed before, in the relationship of midas and meichin. How is it that midas are created from moichin? Hu alidei, it is as a result, shenimshach ha'oras ha'meichin belev, that the ha'ora of moichin, a distant effect of moichin, is drawn into the heart. The heart is affected by the moichin, but not by moichin itself, but the ha'ora of the moichin. I'd like to discuss this a little bit. We are learning something that you said is a little bit out of proximity to, but once you're learning, you might as well get the point of this. Seichel versus midos. Seichel is always pointing to its source. What's the basis of this? Only on seichel is beetle. It's bottled to its source, to the nekuda where it's coming, where it's coming from. Midos, this is when it becomes, when it becomes a mitzvah unto itself. So now so we're saying that it comes from seichel into midas, into the heart. The heart is not interested in where it's coming from. Interested, what do I have? What is my experience? Do I like it or I don't like it? Doesn't mean a thing in terms of is it right or wrong. Just, do I like it? How does it taste? Is it healthy for you? It makes no difference. I like it. This is midas. In that point where it becomes, so to speak, a mitzvah unto itself and completely, so seemingly divorcing itself from its source, within that there is also the ilah. That in a certain sense and a very significant manner, there's a sense, not only do I like it, but it's also the right thing. But it's also good. This good element, this is not part of the midah. This is the seichel as it is carried over into the midah. But what's carried over to the midah? Only ha'or of the seichel, not the essential truth, the rotzen, so to speak, the source of the seichel. I'm not interested, but it does make sense. It does justify this. There's something right about it. It's not only I like it. There's something also right about it. This is the seichel as it is contained within the midah. So let's examine this a little bit. Why is the midah interested of the fact that it makes sense? The midah is interested, I like it, right? That's what the midah is. Do I have you with me? What is this about? So if you start to reflect on this very simple question, it's true it has it, but in order to have it, it has to have a personal proximity, a person interested in it. What is he interested in? I like it. And the answer is, of course, that despite the fact that this is midas, and he has gone so far away from the nefesh, from the rotzen and the oinig and so forth, it still is within the truth of the nefesh. If not for that truth, there would be no midah. Even though the midah becomes a mitzvah unto itself, its interest in its own thing, it still reverts back to what justifies my existence. This is why there is the moichin recognized from midah. And the reason for that is because they're all both coming from a higher source, from the Creator. They all need a spackling of how do I relate to the real source. Okay. Ukemaimer, okay. We're on the line that begins Ardeshe Nimshach. This is 6 lines from the bottom. Ukemaimer, and as it says, Bino libo, ubo halev meiv. That Bino effectively is recognized in the heart. Even though Bino is part of the Kochas of Moichin, but this Moichin part, the Bina part, ultimately is fully recognized in the heart. Moichin itself is more interested in the Chochmah, in the source of it. But the Bina aspect, this is more of the heart. The heart appreciates it more. Lis mizeh, that from this should come his soirus amidus. Once the Bina comes to the heart, that's important. That the Bina should come to the heart so that midos will be aroused and awakened. V'hu inyan, and this is the principle, his slapshus ho'yilo beholu, where the ilo is mislabish. Mislabish means, again, focuses to bring forth the olu. It does not merely, I'm here, take whatever you want. No, it is actually focused onto to the action of providing for it. I give the motion for this whole process. It's slapshus, a very simple motion. If somebody has a storage house of unlimited supplies of food, for example, and he wants to benefit all the people that can benefit from this rajis, from this wealth. There are two ways he can do that. One way is he takes the walls off from this storage house. Says then everybody can come and take what they want. Another way is that he opens a window from the storage house, and people come up to the window, and they request what they need, and he gives it to them with a smile. But they have to come up to the window and ask for it. And he gives it to them. So which one of these is a more significant relationship? On the one hand, he takes the